Welcome back, everyone. I hoped you picked up some great tips and inspiration from the breakout sessions and grew your network with some new contacts during the networking time. Thanks to our sponsor, the Mushroom Council. Do try the blended burger they shared as recipe inspiration. Here to introduce our next session is Annette Graham, a CIA alum and Dean of the School of Business and Management at the CIA, where she oversees the business management and hospitality curriculum, which includes the Innovation Kitchen in the Egg, where intrapreneurship students operate a fast casual restaurant. Hello, Annette.
Hello, and thank you so much, Jacqueline. As Dean of the School of Business and Management at the Culinary Institute of America, I'm honored to have this opportunity to highlight for the conference participants one of the college's newest bachelor's degree programs, a Bachelor's of Science in Hospitality Management. The students you will be meeting in a few minutes will be among the first graduates of this program. Our BS in Hospitality Management is differentiated from other hospitality management degree programs in that our students complete a 30 credit hour core of food and beverage courses, many more hours than other hospitality management programs. These students will leave the college with a deeper breadth of understanding of the business of food and beverage within the greater context of hospitality management. The students are currently enrolled in one of those core courses, Contemporary Topics in Food and Beverage. This course addresses issues, trends, and topics in food and beverage and how they are affected by external influences. The course is taught by Jennifer Purcell in a synchronous seminar-style format, leading to great discussions among the students and Dr. Purcell. Understanding plant-forward menus and consumer demand for plant-forward items has been a topic of study and conversation. I'd now like to welcome Dr. Purcell to introduce our hospitality management students and lead the conversation so you, the conference participants, can hear from the future leaders of the hospitality industry on their perspectives of the future of plant-forward options and opportunities in food and beverage.
So joining us, as Annette mentioned, we've got three great students coming from our hospitality management program. We've got Alexa Mendoker, as well as Brooks Reed and Alessandra Sarria. And as Annette mentioned, they're currently in class with Dr. Purcell. Here they come now. And unfortunately, I haven't been part of these preparatory conversations with Dr. Purcell, so I'm not sure what the first question would be, but I think what would be great is for our attendees to hear just a little bit about each of you and your interest in terms of this topic, Plant Forward, and how you see it going into your future career. So Alexa, maybe we'll start with you.
Yes, so I've been passionate about sustainability ever since I started here at the CIA. It really sparked my interest while taking many of these core classes, as Dean Graham mentioned. I am really looking forward to entering the hospitality industry this coming fall, so September, as we graduate in August. And I think that while choosing my career path, I really would like to align my values with the company values. So I think that's really important for us moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something we hear a lot from new students and new professionals in the industry, is that sense of, as you said, aligning your personal values with the company values as well. Brooks, what about you?
So I actually had the chance to grow up in Ithaca, New York, which is where Cornell University is. It's also the home of one of the more famous vegetarian cookbooks, the Moosewood Cookbook, which is in the James Beard Hall of Fame, actually. It's also the home of one of the most researched eco-villages in the world globally, the Ithaca Eco Village. Personally, so I've taken a lot of sustainability and ecological advancements from my own upbringing, and I'm bringing them to my career. Personally, what I'm looking forward to and bringing into the professional field and my end is a knowledge of how things can be affected with sustainability. I think the biggest thing for me is that a lot of times people are not willing to use the resources to become sustainable when in reality it actually ends up being more profitable in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that as we do these conferences, telling people, or lots of people coming to us and realizing that it's not just about doing the right thing, but the right thing actually ends up being the right business decision to make as well, especially with young, not only talent, but also young guests out there who are looking for these kinds of options. And as the market sort of moves in that direction. Alessandra, what about you?
Well, first of all, just thank you for having us. And I am also a senior at the CIA. And I think sustainability has always been part of our lives, this concept of going green. It's not something new. Maybe it has a different name right now, but it's been talked about just throughout the courses. And I became aware of sustainable practice within our industry at the CIA. On my sophomore year, I became one of 2 United Nations youth ambassadors for the school. And that gave me the great opportunity to just learn about what sustainability is, because I had no idea that tourism could also be categorized as sustainable tourism. So being able to attend conferences and learn about sustainable tourism, inclusive development in third world countries has helped me to see that it's not only practices that we can develop in our own homes, but practices that we can also integrate when we enter the workforce as well.
I love that. I think what's really interesting about having the 3 of you join us is that you all sort of represent, again, this new generation of talent that is coming into our industry. And, what you are currently learning and what you want to pursue as a profession is going to impact this industry, where you, who you see as leaders and the kinds of companies that you want to work for. But you're also representing this generation of eaters who you yourselves are consumers and eaters. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit about how these principles and these ideas have come into play in your personal lives and in your personal eating choices as well. And anybody can jump in here.
I guess I'll start off on that. Also, I just want to let you know that I sent you our panel questions if you want to take a look at that on your
Thank you very much, Brooks. I appreciate that. So that I don't give you a curveball.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. We'll deal with it, but I sent them to you. Eating specifically within the millennial generation, I guess, and starting to move forward now into a different generation when we think about that. I think the biggest thing for me personally, and probably a lot of us, is that we're really open to trying new experiences, trying new niches, finding that thing that we can relate to. And within that, I think the biggest thing for eating and catering to those eating is being adaptable. We talk about the trends versus fads. And I think the biggest thing is identifying trends within the market and trying to stay away from the fads. We see social media a lot. Instagrammable pictures, food, etc. are a big thing, but those usually end up being fads. We go, we get a picture, we never come back. If we're trying to develop a repeat customer, loyal customers, I think it's important to focus on the trends, not the fads.
I love that. I love, yeah, exactly. Or I'm still chewing this over in my head, what you said about taking a picture and then leaving. And look, we've got Dr. Purcell here with us.
Hi there.
Through the glory of the internet, I will let you take it over from here.
Okay, thank you. My apologies. So I really want to introduce all of you, but I want to let everybody know that certainly this great group of students here are all panelists because they really stand out in their passion for sustainability and plant-forward food efforts and their participation in the class. We talk a lot about sustainability. It really streams through much of what we talk about. So we'll go right to the panel questions. The first question is, how have the rise in calls to public health awareness and environmental sustainability factored in your own eating choices? And then we can start with whoever is ready. Alexa.
Hi, yeah, so I think that ever since I started at the CIA, I have, while learning about the effects of protein-based, or I would say animal-based protein, I have strayed away from making that my the center of my plate. When we go to the egg, we have a lot of different options and a lot of vegetable options and non-animal options. So it's important that we look for those, I guess, non-animal based proteins and, fill our plates with those greens and vegetables and other fruits so we can really help the environment. That's how I look at it. It's not really necessarily for my own health, but for the environment and the longevity of the hospitality industry.
Okay, Brooks?
For me personally, when I think about my own eating choices, I think the biggest thing is education. It's really shaped how I eat and what I eat. I think growing up as a kid, and this is probably the same for a lot of other people too, when they were growing up, we're told to get your protein, get your vegetable, get your grain or starch. But the thing that we're not told is how we can get those proteins, how we can get those vegetables. And I think growing up, we were taught to really focus on protein. And even now in America's food eating habits, it's protein. I think the call for sustainability and plant forward has really shaped how I see things. I'm not personally a vegetarian, but I now eat way more vegetables. And you can kind of think of meat and protein as almost a side to a dish compared to the vegetables and plant forward options.
Okay, thank you. Alessandra?
Well, personally, in the past years, I have become more aware of my surroundings, not only within my hometown or state, but more from like a globalist perspective, I would say. I have become a more conscious buyer, meaning that everything that I buy has to have a purpose behind it. During our first years, actually, our hospitality class, we took a field trip to, I think it was Baldor Specialty Foods in the Bronx. And they shared a video with us that showed the extensive journey of a box of strawberries from the moment it is grown to the moment that it lands in our fridge. And at the end of the video, those strawberries actually ended up being in the trash because the consumer, they had simply forgotten about it. So they were in the back of the fridge and, they went bad. And in the kitchen, we have this practice of first in, first out. But at home, I personally never actually practiced that. So what has changed is with this talk about sustainability, I now am implementing things that we did in the kitchen, and I'm now implementing them at home. And I make sure, that I eat what I have before I buy more. And it seems like a simple idea, but it did take some practice. So I think what's most important about sustainability is purchase with consciousness, be aware of where your food is coming from, and just practice. Practice makes perfect.
Okay, thank you. So as you're moving forward and once you graduate from the CIA and you re-enter into the hospitality industry as future leaders, how do you foresee the growth of plant-forward foods impacting your work? And with that, how do you anticipate that you'll make a positive influence and an impact on the plant-forward menu planning and sustainable practices in organizations that you might be working in?
So personally, my area of focus has mainly been, as seen through the class that we're taking together, alternative food methods, focusing on the growing population that we are seeing globally compared to the diminishing output of food that we're seeing. I think that technology is a big trend right now within the hospitality industry and with millennials and the next generation. Not exactly being futuristic, but being more modern. I think that there's a place for being vintage, and if something's working, don't change it. But at the same time, we need to be modern, keeping up with the trends again. As far as how that comes into sustainability when we go into our next jobs, I think being future leaders, that puts us in a position to be able to enable policies and really focus on incorporating a culture within our organizations that is open and promotes sustainability and positive environmental changes as well within the organization.
Okay, great. Who would like to remark on this next? Alexa?
Yeah, so like Brooks was saying, the trend is going upwards from here. This is not really a fad. We're going to see this in a lot of restaurants. I know a lot of restaurants concepts have grown out of just only being plant-based. And I think that it's really a loss of a restaurant, hotel, or any hospitality establishment if they don't ride this wave of this new way of thinking of being plant-based or powered by plants, essentially. So as a leader, I'm looking forward to working with chefs and their menu designs to, work with the income or demand of plant-based.
Okay. Alessandra?
I don't think that plant-forward foods are just a trend. I think they're definitely here to stay. Will animal products ever be completely eradicated? I don't think so. But I think that there will come a day when plant-forward foods are wanted just as much as animal-based products. I think the plant-forward foods will have to be on every menu and just offered across our industry. And in terms of organizational structure, I think the best way to introduce sustainable practice into an organization is, one, do it gradually. Don't think that you can become sustainable overnight. It takes a lot of planning, a lot of money, and just also be transparent about it. And second of all, just see it as a competitive advantage. Professor Kaplan from the CIA in California, she actually has this book. I have it right here. It's called Greening Your Small Business. And she actually mentions in one of the chapters that the green advantage is your commitment to the environment can become a competitive advantage. So just know that if you get a head start, you can compete with other businesses and it will put you ahead.
Great. Thank you. I think we have like 1 minute left.
Yeah.
If each of you can just rapid fire list me 3 things, just 3 top things, environmental concerns that you think hospitality industries really should focus on in the coming years. So Brooks, 3 things.
I'm going to hit you with 4 things: water usage, energy usage, food waste, and garbage waste in every aspect of the industry.
Okay. Alessandra.
Food waste as well, water usage, and I guess the third one would just be create consciousness throughout your employees and consumers as well.
Great. Alexa?
I think they both summed it up pretty well, but my project is based on water usage for your class this semester, so I'm really excited to be working with you with that.
Right. We had a comment from actually a participant thanking you all for being change leaders.
And thank you, Dr. Purcell, for cultivating and educating this next generation of change leaders. Thank you so much to our panel. Time flies by. I feel like we could discuss these issues forever, but thank you so much for sharing your insights.